Hello guys, you are welcome to my YouTube channel once again, and on today's tutorial I'll be taking you on how to use Blender, how to make use of Blender, how to understand the Blender interface. I'll be taking you this beginner guide on the interface of Blender, how to understand the interface, where are the tools located, the windows, because we have about five different windows in Blender. I think it should be six. Yes, we have about six different windows in Blender, and let's kickstart as I take you on the journey of understanding the Blender interface. So now the first thing you see in Blender is a note, and let's just click outside it, and now you see a box. So first thing you see in Blender is a cube. So now I'll be showing you the different windows in Blender. First of all, let me talk about the info window. Here is the info window where we have file, edit. We have our file menu here, which we can say new file, open recent, save as, copy, link, append, data previews, import, export, and so on and so forth. So we have our edit window also. We have our render window, we have windows, we have help, we have our layout, we have modeling. So all these are called info window. This is our info window, and down here this one is called our tool panel. Our tool panel, where we have our select tool, our cursor, our move tool, our rotate tool, and where we have our measure tool here, and this one is called annotate. Okay, now so all these guys here are called our tool panel. They are under our tool panel. These are tool panel. Our tool panel, like I said, this is our info window, and down here is called our timeline window. So this is our timeline window. This is where we insert our keyframes for animation, set sequence, and the rest. So this window here is called timeline window. And what next? These are called our property windows. Property windows, we have, let me highlight this, we have active tool workspace settings, we have our render here, we have our output properties, we have our sim properties, okay, we have our view layer properties, we have our world properties, we have our object properties, we have in here our modifier properties. This is where we add modifiers to our objects. We have our particle properties, we have our object constraint properties. Okay, this one here is called physics properties, and this is material property, and the last is our texture property. So this window here is called property windows. And up here we have our outline windows. This is our outline window. Like now our box is being selected by left clicking on it. That shows that our cube is selected here. We have lights. If I select this light here, you see that our light is being selected inside our windows here, inside our 3D window here. I have our camera. So this is where we call it scene explorer as well. So anything we create on our scene here, we're gonna see it here. So we can view them here, we can uncheck in here, we can hide and unhide objects. So same thing. So here is our outline windows. Let me check this back. So here's our outline windows, and what next again? So in here, center here is called our 3D windows. These are our 3D windows. 3D windows, we do all our work here, all our edits, everything we do here is basically called the 3D window space. So we do most of our modeling here, most of our rigging activities. So this place takes almost 75% of the whole Blender screen. So we do much work in here. And what next? I will show you how to toggle our four projection windows, because we have four windows, and to toggle that is Control Alt Q. So on your keyboard, if you type Control Alt Q, now you see that we have four views in here. When you type Control Alt Q, you see that we have four views in here. Control Alt Q. Let me do that back again. Control Alt Q to go back to our perspective mode. So this is our perspective mode by default, and now we want to go to our four windows view at the same time. So we do Control Alt Q. So now once you do Control Alt Q on your keyboard, so we now see four window projection here. This is our first projection, which is, it says top orthographic view. This is our top view. We see the top of our object. We can see the top of our cube here. This is our front view. We see the front, which is this place, the front view, and the right view, which is this other place. So here is for our right view. Yes, for our right, you can view our object on the right view here. We can also view our object on the front view here, and this for the top view. So what I want to show us again is how to orbit our screen. First of all, let's do Control Alt Q to go back to our perspective view. Control Alt Q. So now we are back in our perspective view, and what I want to show you now is how to orbit your screen, and how to pan your 3D screen, and how to zoom in and out. Okay, now how to pan your screen. You hold Shift plus your middle scroll button. So you hold Shift plus your middle scroll button, and this helps you pan your screen from left to right, up to down. So you hold Shift. While holding Shift, you hold your middle scroll button, and you move sideways, upwards and downwards. So that is for panning, that is for moving your 3D windows. And to rotate your 3D windows is very simple. You just use only the center scroll button and try and rotate your hands. You see that I'm rotating my 3D windows. So that is how to rotate your 3D windows. And to zoom in and out, you use your scroll button to zoom in and out. Your scroll button to zoom in and out. Your middle scroll button to zoom in and out. To zoom in and out in a very nice way also, you hold Control to zoom in and out also. Control to zoom in and out. To zoom in and out. Control to zoom in and out. Control to zoom in and out. Let me recap again. To rotate your screen, middle button to rotate your screen. To pan your 3D windows, hold Shift and middle button. You can pan your 3D windows. And these are our two panel here. If you select this, so first of all, this is our select tool. This is our cursor tool. This cursor you see out here, that's our cursor. It's at the center point of our origin. This is our move tool. So to select an object is left click. To select an object, you left click on that object. So this is our cube. I left click on the cube and it's selected. That means that you see a highlighted orange light around our cube. So that means we have selected our cube by left clicking on it. So now this is our manipulation tools. These are our move, our rotate and our scale. So let's try the move. This is our move. So you can move on the Z axis. This blue line denotes the Z axis. Ctrl Z. This red line in our grid, this red line here, it denotes the X axis, and this Y line denotes the Y axis. So we have X, Y and Z. You can also view them here too, X, Y and Z. So first of all, so you can also view them on X, Y and Z also. Okay, now let's try to move our box. Left click on it, and we can move on the X axis. Like I said, this arrow is pointing on the X, so it denotes our X axis. To move also is, so you can move on the Y axis too, and we can move on the Z axis. Ctrl Z. And now to move also, G is the shortcut key for move. G, that means we can grab this. If you press G, you can grab your cube and place anywhere you love. You can say G and place here. I can say G and place here. I can say G and place here. And let me do Ctrl Z back. Okay, what I'll be doing next is rotate. Okay, so select rotate manipulation tool, and you can rotate on the Z axis. You can rotate on the X axis. You can rotate also on the Y axis. That's the Ctrl Z back. And the shortcut key for rotate is arrow. You can click arrow on your keyboard to rotate, to scale, S to scale, S on your keyboard to scale, or you come to this manipulation tool here and click on scale. You can scale on the Y axis, scale on the Z axis, scale on the X axis. So you just bring your mouse to where those green points are. Let's do Ctrl Z back to undo, Ctrl Z to undo. Now let's move in another dimension. Okay, let me say we select this cube by left clicking on it, and we say G to move, and you click Z on your keyboard. That means we have locked X and Y axis, so we can move uniformly on the Z axis. Same thing for the X axis, G for move and X for X axis. So now we can move freely only on the X axis while the Y and the Z axis are locked. Same thing to move on the Y axis, G for move and Y for Y axis. So now we can move only on the Y axis while X and Z are locked. So that's the same for scaling and also for rotating. So now let me scale. S to scale, S on your keyboard, you see this sign, this arrow sign, and I can say X. So I want to scale only on the X axis, and let me scale on the Y axis. I will say S to scale and Y for Y axis. Same thing with rotate, arrow to rotate and Y. That means I want to rotate only on the Y axis, locking X and Z. Undo back, let me say rotate again and Z. So I want to rotate only on the Z axis. Okay, now so what I will show you next now is, before I call it a wrap, is how to duplicate an object. Okay, to duplicate an object is very simple, and that command is Shift D. So select your object by left clicking and say Shift D on your keyboard, Shift D, and you see that I've grabbed one cube out. So I want this cube to be in line with this other cube, so I just right click and move it. So now I have two cubes. Okay, I will call it a wrap for today for part 1, and you can check down for part 2. If this tutorial has helped you, please kindly like my YouTube page, follow me on Twitter, also follow me on Telegram, and share the link, share my YouTube link, and keep watching and keep liking and make your comments. I want to hear your comments also. Thanks for watching.